Good morning. Whether you are participating online or here in person, we say welcome home to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Mark Anderson, and we're very happy you're here. For our guests, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the Live Oak Weekly Newsletter. It's the go-to place to know everything that is happening here, and there's a link on our homepage. And now, here and at home, let us light our chalices. May we light this chalice this morning to remind us of the power and beauty of balance and contrast. It is darkness that can make the flame of a single candle so powerful, and light that deepens those shadows in turn. A chalice flame is the meeting point, the union of refuge, safety, and incredible beauty of darkness, and the warmth, the assurance, and the joy of light. May this act of lighting our chalice this morning remind us that we are stronger together in all the complexities and the disagreements of relationship because we are different and because we are one.
And now, would you please join us in singing our opening hymn, Return Again. Please rise either in body or in spirit.
So I'd like to encourage you on this side of the sanctuary to stay with me. We'll start right at the beginning, and we'll sing the first couple twice, then we'll shift to the bottom and sing that twice, and then we'll go back up to the top and sing that twice and end there. That half of the sanctuary we'll sing with the ladies up here, and you'll start a little later. You can actually sing the first one with us. So it's 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, and 2 at the top, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Just follow them.
And since we're Unitarians, we'll just do whatever we want anyway.
You can also just sing the same thing over and over because harmonically it'll work great.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, your soul and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to where you are, return to where you are, return to where you are, your soul and reborn.
We're remembering how to do this again. I'm Reverend Joanna. Today is a precious gift. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I want to take a moment to extend a very special welcome to everyone who is visiting us. Rather than gathering together because we all have the same beliefs, we are an intentional community that is gathered around a shared promise to support each other's individual spiritual journeys. We're also intentional about bringing all ages together in today's world. That often doesn't just automatically happen, but we think that it's important to have an adult friend ask a child or a youth, hey, how'd you do on that math test you were worried about? Or to have a 30-year-old and a 70-year-old chat about life after the service or when they're working on a project together. Though we do not require everyone to share the same beliefs, you will still find that many of us have many values in common. We believe in science, reason, the equality of all, and the need for equity. We know that Black lives matter, we value reproductive justice, and we celebrate the LGBTQIA+ community. We work to make love the doctrine of our lives and to put it in action through service in this church and out in the world. So there you go. That's a little bit about us, and we hope that after the service you can stay and chat and tell us a little bit about you. May we celebrate the promises and the possibilities of this day together. Every week when we gather, we share pieces of our lives with each other. We share our sorrows so that we may offer comfort to one another, and we share our joys so that we may celebrate together. And if you are at home, please type in the chat box any joys or sorrows that you are carrying today. And today, Cindy shares that 2 of their former exchange daughters are Ukrainian, and while they are living in Poland, their families are still in Ukraine. Please send thoughts for their continued safety. Lindy Dower shares, I have hyperfunction of the vocal cords, which means I have no voice. Please don't expect me to be my usual chatty self. This is really hard. Thanks for your support. And we have a concern for the families whose lives are plagued by fear. Concern for the families whose unconditional love is being treated as wrong. And Bill Dower shares, thanks that we can get together and make music, and for those friends who make music with them. In this religious community, we hold with reverence the knowledge that each week a multitude of different emotions and experiences are brought together into this room. One of us may be celebrating while one is weeping, one filled with determination and another filled with despair. But this mosaic of experiences is holy, and we honor all with our witness. And now, for the first, I'm not going to tear up, for the first time since before the pandemic began, I am very excited because today is a special day in the life of our congregation. We are being transformed as we welcome in new members who some of them joined this church during a global pandemic, even when all we could do was meet online. And these new members are going to bring new ideas, new desires, new energies, new opportunities to us. And in fact, some of them already have been doing that. And we are going to share our ideas, desires, energies, and projects with them. Our covenant securely grounds us, but it also resonates with new life. As George Beach put it, people don't join a covenanted community, rather they constitute it. There is no it without them. And each time that new folks join, the whole is literally reconstituted.
Oh my gosh, you can't believe what an honor this is to be able to do this. I'm so excited. I want to call up some people. All of these people have met the requirements of membership in Live Oak, and so we're going to ask them to come up to the stage. So if Julianne Knott, Audrey McCann, Judy Reynolds, Neil Sonneson, Cindy Schlesinger, and of course Eric Schlesinger, Carol Sheffield, Chrissy Williams, James Williams, and Cheryl Mackey.
And we also extend a special welcome to the children of our new members. We celebrate you and are glad that you are here. Today, the identity of all of our members, old and new, is changing. This congregation gets a new identity because you change us. We are now your church. And you change because you now add a member of Live Oak to who you are. Simply put, with these promises we make to each other, you become ours and we become yours. Will the members of the congregation please stand in body or in spirit and join me in our words of commitment? Hang on. There we go. We, the members of Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church, welcome you into membership. We promise to walk along with you in your spiritual journey, to work together with you to strengthen this liberal religious community, and to make our vision for a just and peaceful world come alive. And will you new members please say your words? We pledge
with our hands and hearts to contribute to the common good of this liberal religious community and to join the spirit of love, reason, and freedom that we have here. We join you in the mission to embrace joy, enrich connections, encourage growth, and empower dreams.
Let us welcome these new members into our fold. Let us give them the best of our tradition, who we have been and who we are today. But let us also open ourselves to the ways in which they are going to teach and transform us and share in the construction of the community that together we are becoming. Neither churches nor their members are perfect. If you hang around here long enough, there's probably one of two things, and possibly both, that may happen to you. Eventually, the church may disappoint you, or you may disappoint the church. A time may come when we fail to act or respond to something that you are sure that we should have. A time may come when you can't do something that the church asks of you. And it's not that what happened isn't important, it is, but what is most important is what happens next. As long as we live in covenanted community, seeking right relationship, our commitment to each other will be strengthened, and we will grow as individuals and as a healthy community.
These new members are amazing, and I hope that you will get to know each and every one of them. But I also want to let you know that Becky Gregory has been putting wonderful biographies in the newsletter, and so I urge you to look in the newsletter because someone will be featured next week, and you'll get to know a little bit each week, and you'll get to know a little bit about them. So we have a gift bag for each family, and inside your gift book, gift bag, you're going to find a small chalice, and because it is important that what happens here does not stay here. We hope.
Yep.
So that we hope that you will find ways to keep the chalice burning bright in your home and in your heart. And now, if you'll exit to your right, our wonderful membership chair, Becky, has and the rest of us will give you a hard time. You're already there.
What a wonderful day this is, and if you are not a member yet, feel free to join us at noon in the library where the membership team and I will be leading an exploring membership class. Okay.
Today's big idea is The Sneetches, written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss. Now the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain-bellied Sneetches had none upon theirs. Because they had stars, all the star-bellied Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. "We'll have nothing to do with the plain-bellied sort." When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. When the star-bellied Sneetches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain-bellied Sneetches. They left them out cold, in the dark, on the beaches. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie." Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like the star-belly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each." When the plain-belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way round?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on theirs." Then with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. "We know who is who, now there is no doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guess, things really got into a horrible mess. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines, they raced round and about again, until neither the plain nor the star-bellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. "They never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch." But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs.
Every week, we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity, combining our resources to support the ministries of this church. Part of our mission is to empower dreams, and this Sunday we will be sharing the offering with Casa Marianea to help empower their dreams to provide homeless shelters for immigrants, mostly asylum seekers coming from immigrant detention. We now invite you to go to liveoakuu.org and click on Donate.
Struck by lightning sounds pretty frightening, but the chances are quite small. Stuck by a bee sting, it's an allergy thing. Better chance you buy the farm at the mall. But it's 23 or 4 to 1. You'll fall in love by the end of this song. So get up, call your bookie, make a bet. Not a damn thing will go wrong. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright tonight. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright for another night. Hit by an A train, crashed in an airplane. I don't recommend either one. Killed by a great white or a meteorite. Not a way to go, that's fun. Somewhere in the world, someone's gonna fall in love by the end of this song. So get up, no, it's never gonna let up. You might as well sing along. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright tonight. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright for another night. Sure things go wrong. I'll take my chances. Odds are long. So why not struck by lightning, very, very frightening, but the chances are so small. Hit by an A train, crashed in an airplane, better chance you buy it all at the mall. But it's 23 or 4 to 1. You fall in love by the end of this song. So get up, no, never gonna let up. Might as well sing along, sing along. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright tonight. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright for another night. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright tonight. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright. Odds are we're gonna be alright for another night.
Our musicians have done some amazing work with recording during the pandemic, but oh my, I've really missed live music. How about y'all? In Unitarian Universalism, we talk about how we have 6 sources that make up our living tradition. And it may seem like, well, 6, that's not very many for a deliberately pluralistic faith, right? You know, Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Battlestar Galactica. But you have to realize that it's kind of like, you know, how you always think about if the genie ever comes to me and says, I'm going to give you 3 wishes. My first wish is going to be for 1,000,000 more wishes. We kind of do that, right? Because the third source that we draw from is wisdom from the world's religions, which inspires us in our ethical and spiritual life. And then our fourth source is Jewish and Christian teachings, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. And if you're looking at those two and going, well, that fourth one seems a little redundant, you're not wrong at all. Of course, Christianity and Judaism are part of the world's religions, but it's a way of acknowledging and honoring our heritage. Unitarian Universalism came from Christianity, which came from Judaism. So we draw from all these different sources and more, and one of those sources is the Hebrew Bible. Please do refer to it as the Hebrew Bible and not the Old Testament. To call it the Old Testament is supersessionist, and your Jewish friends are going to be a little ticked off because it's pretty insulting to Judaism. But in the Hebrew Bible, there are all of these great poems and stories and some really trippy psychedelic stuff, which I quite enjoy. And I am really lucky because I grew up Unitarian Universalist, and so to me the Hebrew Bible has never been anything other than the writings of humans trying to make sense out of human existence. As I said, it also has a whole lot of stories, and I love stories. And one particular story has been on my mind lately. In the 18th chapter of Genesis, there's this situation where God is talking with Abraham. This is also why I love the Hebrew Bible, because you have, like, people just talk directly to God. They argue with God. Sometimes they shake their hand and yell at God. And even if you know, my understanding of God is metaphor, I mean, come on, with what's going on right now, what's gone on over the past 6 years, sometimes it's really helpful to be able to yell at why all of this is happening. But people do have these direct conversations. And in this particular conversation, God has come to Abraham and said, so I'm really mad at the city of Sodom because they have been treating their poor and needy really bad. So I'm just going to get rid of the whole city. And Abraham says, well, that escalated quickly. What the heck? You are supposed to be the all-powerful, all-wise God, and you're going to destroy an entire town? What if there are 50 righteous people in that town? You're still going to destroy everyone? And God says, okay, you're not wrong. If there's 50 righteous people, I won't destroy it. So Abraham at this point is like, oh, we're in a negotiation. Okay. By the way, there's lots of humor in the Hebrew Bible, and I think that's intentional. Like humor was not just invented by Shakespeare. It's always been a part of the human condition. So Abraham says, 50? Okay, but what if there's, 5 less than that? You're going to destroy an entire town just because of 5 people? God says, okay, if there's 45 righteous people in the town, I won't destroy it. Abraham says, I know that I'm just dust and ashes, and your God, his actual words, dust and ashes. By the way, I think I'm going to start using that. I'm looking at my spouse right now. I know I'm just dust and ashes, but would you clean out the dishwasher? He's going to get me for that one later. So Abraham says, dust and ashes. What if there are 30? And God says, if there's 30, I won't do it. So I don't mean to bother you or anything, God. I'm just a lowly human and all that, but what if there's 20 righteous people? If there's 20 righteous people, I won't destroy Sodom. Okay, last one. What if there are 10 people? Okay, if there are 10 people, I won't destroy the town. I love it. The reason why I have been thinking of this story and this negotiation all the way down, it's good that I am not God. I think that we can all agree on that, especially right now my spouse. Because I absolutely have been moving through the world lately, seeing everybody in this very negative way. seeing everyone as the unrighteous. Not y'all. Y'all are lovely. Really. I mean, it's a very specific thing. It is people who are not social liberals like myself, right? And so people I don't even know, like neighbors I don't know, people in the grocery store, I've just become really aware that kind of operating in the back of my mind at all times is an assumption that they are not like me. And you know what I'm talking about. I am talking about something that is values-based. I mean, like, I'm not just talking about people who put beans in their chili. I am becoming very self-differentiated about this, y'all. I'm working to become very self-differentiated about this. But it is a value, the way that I am seeing other people is seriously values-based, right? I'm moving through the world with an assumption that unless I have been given evidence to the contrary, that all of these people around me are anti-vaxxers. They don't believe that Biden was actually elected president. They are anti-LGBTQ. They don't believe that women should be able to have choice in their reproductive decisions, etc. I think part of this is being a liberal in Texas. I think we get into that mindset. And I would love to say that this is something new for me. You know, that this just arose because of the pandemic or because of the former guy and all of the people who believe that he is the rightful president. But I've gotten comeuppance on this before. I mean, just being confessional here. Back in 2008, y'all remember spring of 2008? Does anyone remember, anyone voting in Texas in 2008? Do you remember the Texas two-step? That's what it was called. That was the thing. So spring of 2008, number one, we were living in an extremely, extremely conservative area, a suburb of Houston. Everyone was religiously and politically conservative. Their kids were always inviting my kids to come to a church lock-in. They weren't really sure about whether they should let their kids play with my kids. And meanwhile, we have the primary that is going on where Hillary Clinton is running against Barack Obama for the Democratic nomination. And in Texas, they did the Texas two-step, which was where you went and you voted in the primary, and then if you could take off work, if whatever, you also would go to and caucus. Anyone else do both of those? Yeah, we took, and we were like, in this area, great, there's gonna be what, 10 of us? So we took the kids and went down, it was this huge elementary school. Well, first of all, we're driving around and around, and there's no parking places. There's not even any parking places around the school, and this was just for the Democrats. Like, we had to park like blocks and blocks away. And we get there, and people are literally spilling out into the halls and outside. There was this lady who lived down the street from me. Let's call her the HOA lady. Any of y'all serve on your HOA lady? Like, you're gonna admit it now. You're like, well, not anymore. Y'all are wonderful people. You are doing the Lord's work. Go with God. But this lady, I mean, she was just always honest. We knew that she was so conservative, right? We didn't know which church she went to, but we had our guesses. Yeah, so we get into the building, make our way over to the Obama section. I hear someone calling my name, and guess who it is? It's the HOA lady. She's not just a Democrat, she's there with us for Obama. Over the next 3 or 4 hours, we were there for a long time, we get to know each other. I I mean, not just someone, a like-minded individual. I have found a friend. I have found someone who I can work with at this great task of building beloved community. And for years, I had never even allowed that possibility to come into my head, because it is so easy, if you are a liberal in Texas, to get into this bunker mentality where you assume that everyone is an enemy. We can't build beloved community with that sort of just knee-jerk reaction. So how do we change? This is not a sermon about how you should love everyone, no matter what their values are. That would probably be a great sermon. I hope you can find someone who can preach it, because right now, I can't do that authentically. Not after the past 6 years, not after the past 2 years. Here's something perhaps a little more manageable, which is, can we change our default to where we assume that we are around people with our values until proven otherwise, rather than the reverse? Because if I have to see a rainbow flag or a Black Lives Matter sign in front of your house in order to let down my guard and become friends, then I'm operating on a principle of guilty until proven innocent. And here's the thing. The math does not back us up on that deep suspicion that we have. There is a mathematical justification when we actually look at the numbers. There's a mathematical justification to start this idea of assuming that the people around us are probably more like us than not. So let's go through some statistics here. Percentage in the USA who are vaccinated. And let me start before I start throwing these numbers at you, because these things, I'm going to go through some social liberal things, and we're going to be like, it should be 100%. No, this is simply, I want to convince you that the majority is anything over 50%, right? That the majority of people have values like yours and like mine. So percentage in the USA who are vaccinated, 65% fully vaccinated, that's over 50%. 76% have received at least one dose. And as you see, I am sourcing all of these. Percentage in the USA who believe that racism against Black people is widespread, 64%. Again, we can quibble about what the heck is it with you for the other, 46, but again, this is to assume that those around us there's a greater mathematical probability that they are like us. Percentage in the USA who approve of interracial marriage. A few decades ago, that was, like 2%. It is now 94%. Percentage in the USA who believe that decisions about abortions should be made by women in consultation with their doctors, not by legislators, 79%. Percentage in the USA who support laws that protect our queer community, 76%. Percentage in the USA who support same-sex marriage, slightly down, but 70%. Okay, so let's get into this, right? Because there have been all these headlines about how many people support what happened on January 6th. As my spouse will often say, there's statistics, there's damn statistics, no, there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. How the questions are asked matter. And this one, this is from the New York Times, researchers led by Sean Westwood of Dartmouth College in a paper titled "Current Research Overstates American Support for Political Violence," argue that, quote, "documented support for political violence is illusory, a product of ambiguous questions, conflated definitions, and disengaged respondents. Often pollsters are just capturing people expressing their partisan tribalism." Isn't that true? Like, haven't you seen some of these, so many of these surveys that they do? Or if you ever get one on the phone, for those of you who still pick up your phone, right? They're obviously slanted. So there was a group of political scientists who were very concerned, as you might be, what is happening to our democracy at seeing all of these headlines. And so they took a scholarly approach, breaking down, what do you mean by violence? Do you mean an email to a politician? Do you mean what we saw on January 6th? And what they discovered, does anyone want to throw out a guess? Percentage in the USA who believe the violence was justified? 4%. Which is still way too many. I mean, because when you think of how many people there are in the United States, the fact that there are 4% makes me more than a little nervous. But we're given this message like it's 50-50. They broke it down into all these different things of, okay, what do you mean by political aggression and violence? Leaving a threatening message, harassing someone online, all the way down to the very specifics, because the good thing about January 6th was all of those videos, all of those people with the video camera in their phone, people could see it. And there are things that theoretically we may think one way until we actually see it and we go, oh, no, that's not okay. That's not the country I want to live in. 4%. Here's the thing. If you are feeling those feelings, a feeling like you are surrounded by enemies, that you didn't get there alone. Socially conservative politicians have a stake in this. They need you to believe that you are the minority, and they need their followers to believe that they are the majority, because otherwise, if they are saying that they believe in democracy, then the gig is up. Because if you believe in democracy, for good or for bad, it means that you follow the will of the people. So they are constantly giving a message that people who believe these things are the minority when we are not. Does the media play a role? Absolutely, but the media has always played a role. There's a reason why people talk about, man bites dog, and it's the very simple thing of people aren't going to buy a newspaper that has a headline about a dog biting a man, because that happens all the time. It is when something is unusual that they make a headline or something for us to click, because that's how they make money. Like, I don't blame them for that. I don't know how else it would work. I'm not out there buying newspapers that just have kind of the ordinary stuff in them. But we do have to go further at discovering the facts. If we want to build beloved community, and I fervently hope and believe that we do, we can't do it just us. We can't do it only with the people who have a rainbow flag in front of their house. We have to start by assuming that the people around us are like us, that they hold many of the same values that we do. If we're proven wrong, okay, then we have some evidence. Then we can make changes in our relationship. But let's start with this idea of seeing all the people around us as friends and as co-conspirators in our great vision. And now I'm going to invite you to join me in our closing music. We're skipping the meditation today since we had the joy of the meditation of having new members join the church. Please rise either in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Filled with Loving Kindness.
So join us at 11 o'clock right outside the front doors for an all-ages discussion about the labyrinth. And at 11:25, Becky and Ray will be leading us in a walk through the labyrinth.
So, how many righteous people does it take for you to move through the world, assuming that the majority are probably good people? God, in the end, decided that there weren't enough people. But that whole idea of just 10 people in a town, I can see already that there are way more than just 10 people in my town. May you go forward knowing that life is fragile and a gift, that you are lovable and loved. And may you take the peace of this day with you.
We extinguish this flame, but we recommit anew to carrying into our week the flame of justice and love. May we share with others the courage and strength we find here.